Okay, this is a new little vineyard we're planting down here in front. There'll be 3 rows of 5 each. These will all be Cabernet Sauvignons. Since it turns out that's probably our most popular wine, every year it's gone first, so I decided to put in some more vines. Now what we do, first we drill a hole 18 inches deep. These are big rooted grapes. We put that much fertilizer in the bottom. Doesn't look like very much, but that's all a new grape can stand. So we put it in the bottom of the hole, stir in some dirt, and then we're ready for the vine. This is how they ship them. Several layers of really heavy black. This is the way they come. This is a 3-year-old vine, has excellent roots and excellent top. I get them out of California. For a while I tried to plant in the 1-year-olds, and I just don't have a real good success rate. By planting the 3-year-olds, almost everyone grows. A little more expensive, about 3 times as much expensive. Now first we want to prune off the excess root. And leave what will spread out and fill the hole. You kind of build a mound at the bottom and let the roots flare down both sides. Okay, at the bottom of the hole where we put in the fertilizer, we threw in about 2 inches of dirt. We built a little mound so the roots of the grape are running down both sides. So the bottom of the roots are down the 18 inches. The top of it, where the roots connect to the stalk, are up about 6 inches. So you want the whole thing at least 12 inches underground. Then we continue to fill the hole, pack the bottom, then close to the top we'll put in a little more fertilizer. This will wash down with the water all year. This is a slow dissolving fertilizer. And then we'll build a little dam around it. Then we'll fill it with water right away. The next thing that will happen is we'll put a wire here, here, and here. I use the 3-wire system. Now these grapes will come up and go down each wire. Oh, getting old. So now I need some water. You water them immediately because you don't want anything. I say you water them immediately, so you don't want the roots to dry out at all. They're shipped from California, packed in Excelsior and water. They get here in 2 days, straight in the ground. But like I say, the smaller grapes, when I was buying the 1-year grapes, I was probably losing 10% of them. Since I buy the 3-year-old grapes now, I haven't lost any. too much water. Now these grapes are already 3 years old. They will produce something next year, probably nothing this year. They'll have maybe 1 or 2 shoots on next year. Then by the 4th, 5th year, they'll be producing a full crop. Now when I plant them, go over to this one. I leave everything on until they green up. Now after I'm sure that this top is going to green up, then everything from here down will cut off. But my wire will be about that high, and the first spread I want is at the first wire. Then if you remember when the other grapes, they all had 3 wires. Some people just use 2. They keep their grapes up here so they're easy to pick. Have a long trunk with nothing on it. I leave mine down. It's easier. Gives me more foliage. In this country we worry about the ground drying out too much. So the more foliage I have close to the ground, the wetter they're going to stay. So we want a lot of wet up until the 1st of July, and then we quit watering. But that's when they make their sugar, July and August. So all these little grapes, they'll green up this year, and some of them will grow 3 or 4 feet this year. So they'll be up to the 2nd and 3rd wire by the end of the year. Cabernet Sauvignons are a very ambitious grape. We put them 6 feet apart. Most vineyards will put them 8 to 10 feet apart.
Why's that?
They have lots of land, I don't.
Oh. Well, what's the meaning of putting them 6 feet apart? Just the roots?
Well, they're going to run. They're going to come up on this wire. They're going to run 10 foot each direction. And if you remember when we trimmed, I cut them all back to their 3 foot area, which means I'm cutting off a lot of vine, but that makes them produce more grapes. I'll get more grapes per vine cutting back to a 6 foot spread than leaving a 12 foot spread. If I had a big field, I'd probably plant them all 10 foot apart. But I only have 2 acres to work in here, so I get them a little crowded and do a little more trimming.
You planted these ones yesterday, right?
Right. Now they come in 2 days ago, and like I say, you got to get them in the ground pretty soon. I let them set in water. From the time they come in, they're actually, when they leave out there, they're in a big bag wrapped in burlap with Excelsior in it. They come totally wet, and they actually will come with a little ice in them. They keep them that cold before they get here. They won't ship them until they know the weather in Albuquerque is going to be a certain temperature. But I found out you're a lot better off paying for a older grape if you have a limited number that you can grow. If you put in the small ones, you're going to replace so many every year. That's why I bought these now, because I had to replace 6 of the ones I planted last year. You know, it froze here very late. I'd put out 12 Merlots and only saved 4. The Cab Sauvignons, all of them grew.
Yeah, they're like weeds, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're very good grape.
They're a good grape.
Yeah. I would imagine 90% of the people that want to buy my wine want a Cabernet Sauvignon. I produce a lot of white wine. Nobody wants white wine anymore. It used to be white wine was a women's drink. The men drink the stronger stuff. Now everybody drinks Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon. The ones in the basement are just sitting there, probably until August.
The other ones you bought?
No.
Oh, the
last year's wine.
Yeah.
So all it does during the summer, it just sits there, and you test it once in a while. Tim and I went down yesterday and opened each of the bottles and see if they're developing flowers of wine or anything. And if they are, then we put some more Campton in them and cap them back up. And we'll bottle those probably about the end of August. This has been Wining with Carl for this station, and I'll see you next time.
And Darlene and her father took me by my hand, and first Darlene took me for a tour of the new addition and inside of the property, and then her dad took me on probably was an hour-and-a-half tour. First we went into the wine cellar and he showed me how he makes the wine, and then he took me to see the chickens and where the horses used to be. I think they're getting a horse soon, where they used to raise the German Shepherds. And then he took me through his art studio, which just goes on and on and on and on and on. And I love art, I love animals, the wine, they took me back to the bar to taste some wine, of course. And I just always envied people that grew up on farms. I've never had that experience. So this, when you enter the gate here, it's just captivating. It just grabs you. And I'm only here for a couple of hours and I don't want to leave. I've never seen Albuquerque, but I have no desire to leave the gates. I just want to stay here and soak in this beautiful place.